when you're taking worldly behavior and making it okay in the church, when you're talking about that in the world, it's going to seem crazy. They're going to feel like, what's wrong with you? You're being judgmental. So they're going to counterbalance that with every movie they have something that does not line up with God's moral code. And it's the same reason if you hear a Bible verse on a Hollywood movie or TV show, 9 times out of 10, this guy's like a serial killer, and he's been reading his Bible.
Yep.
We was watching a show the other night, and this guy was talking about the Bible, and I told him this. I was like, yep, he did it. Guess what?
He did it.
He did it.
Yep.
Everything was perfect. He was loving. He was kind. They went to church. And I was like, no, it's just the way it's conveyed. But I'm saying you can't sit there and holler at the world your whole life about issues like this and expect them to respond, because they're not going to respond.
Right.
You can holler about people in the church about this, because that's what he's doing. I mean, he's not hollering, but I mean, he's coming on pretty doggone strong.
Such were some of you, but you were washed.
Right.
So they can rise above it.
I wanted to read this, because when he gets to 2 Corinthians 11, which we'll get to, now look, this verse should not be underestimated. Same group he's writing to. He gets to 9, and he's talking about such men are false apostles, deceitful workmen, masquerading as apostles of Christ. He's not talking about Hollywood. He's talking about people saying, "Oh, we're the kingdom of God." But they want to blur God's standard, and then he says this, and no wonder, for Satan himself masquerades as an angel of light. It is not surprising then if his servants masquerade as servants of righteousness. Therein will be what their actions deserve. So my only point is, I'm saying this church, based on 1 Corinthians 11 or 6, other than being deemed the most embarrassing church in the history of churches, seriously.
Yeah.
Well, they certainly had the most problems of any one you read in the New Testament.
You know what's crazy? They were still referred to as the Church of the Living God.
From the beginning, he addressed them.
Paul is giving them everything he's got. And look, these people are getting together. You couldn't tell man from woman on some of the pews. They're getting together to take the Lord's Supper and have a love feast. And some of them are getting drunk and gorging themselves and not caring about the rest of the brothers. It's supposed to be a relationship, fellowship type of love feast. And they're just like, oh, I'm going for the food and I'm going to eat until I throw up rather than wait on my brother or sister, whichever they may be.
Yep.
I mean, that was what was going down here.
Which, and think about that, like, it's so offensive to my sensibilities to even imagine that happening, that we're in a church setting where we got brothers and sisters there, and we're all surrounded by this, we're surrounding this table, we're eating, we're enjoying, you've cooked something, mom's cooked something, and we look over there, and there's people that have nothing. And I'm just going to not even acknowledge that or say, hey, here, share some of our food, or hey, let's get some, what about these folks? I couldn't stand that. I couldn't sit there and eat and have a group right over there that's not eating a bite. Who would even do that?
I mean, I think it happens. Well, you just think, what are the reasons people get together? I mean, like at a Super Bowl party, what do people do? They all get together, they have a big meal, and, you're doing something fun together. And, I mean, what separates what we should be doing is we have a meal, and we're trying to put all these principles that we got from the Lord, patience, kindness, faith. I mean, he's going to get to the love. He's going to get to the loving acts that should be happening in your fellowship.
He's going to remind them of the gospel.
I mean, that's why this thing is so beautiful, which is embarrassing. They had to be reminded of the gospel, and they had to have love defined.
Yep.
That's right.
Yep.
But it's not unlike us. We get so.
But he made such a point though, Jay. It's like he was so disgusted by it that he starts out by saying you're doing more harm than good by even getting together. Then he says, don't you have home? Just don't even eat together. Just eat at home.
I think he was being, not overly dramatic, but he was being like, the whole reason that you're here is for your Lord, but you're not coming for the Lord. You're coming for yourself. So why
Exactly.
just go home and do that.